Science is pretty amazing and scary at the same time. It has given us a lot of things that we can't live without. From insulin to the internet, science has changed our lives in unimaginable ways, and we just can't deny this fact. But sometimes, some scientists love to play God. They want to create things that nature itself couldn't. Well, it's great, like you can grow human organs inside pigs or revive species from death, but it also opens the door to some terrible outcomes. Let's take a look at 15 such crossbreeding experiments that went horribly wrong. Starting with number 15, inbred Kenny. Kenny wasn't born a monster, he was made one. Bred in captivity by people chasing the perfect white tiger, Kenny came into the world already broken. His parents were siblings, deliberately inbred to maintain the rare white coat that fetches high prices and pulls crowds at exotic pet shows. The result was tragic. Kenny had a flattened face, misaligned teeth, and a skull that never developed properly. He looked nothing like the majestic predator he was supposed to be. Despite this, he was often paraded as a curiosity rather than treated as a creature in pain. His lifespan barely touched 10 years, far below what a healthy tiger could live in captivity. Kenny's story isn't unique, just public. Behind countless cages and breeding facilities, similar tragedies unfold every single day, hidden under the illusion of beauty and rarity. Kenny became a symbol not of awe but of cruelty dressed as admiration. His life was short, his suffering long, and the people responsible walked away without a scar or feeling of guilt. Number 14, woolly mammoth hybrid. Bringing back this Ice Age beast isn't just a wild headline or some lie-filled internet story. It's an active, well-funded project. In 2023, Colossal Biosciences decided to go full Jurassic Park, aiming to create a cold-resistant hybrid using woolly mammoth DNA and modern Asian elephants. Their goal is simple: reintroduce these giants to the Arctic tundra by 2028. But this isn't resurrection, it's reinvention. What we'll get won't be true mammoths, but hybrid creatures that look like them, act like them, and hopefully thrive like them. The moral gray zone is deep. Are we doing this to restore lost ecosystems or just to prove we can? The hope is that these hybrids might help slow tundra thawing by flattening snow and promoting grass growth. An ecological reboot, but if nature took thousands of years to phase them out, who says we're smarter at bringing them back? Behind the flashy tech and bold promises is an uncomfortable truth. We're not reviving the past, we're rewriting it, gene by uncertain gene. And we're sure you've seen those cute hooly mouses, but should we really be playing God with our planet? Number 13, geep. Well now, this one is super crazy. A goat and a sheep walk into a pasture, and some lucky times, against all odds, a geep is born. These hybrids are as rare as they are biologically confused. Most don't survive past birth. The ones that do are usually sterile, clumsy-looking anomalies, blending the face of one species with the body of another like a child's drawing gone off the rails. But then came the lab-grown versions, part experiment, part Frankenstein. Scientists began creating sheep chimeras by blending embryos from sheep and goats, manipulating their genetic code to produce something neither fully one nor the other. These geeps can't reproduce, can't fully integrate with either parent species, and often carry genetic defects. Still, they're being looked at for agricultural benefits, like hardier wool production. But the question remains, at what cost? The geep is a strange little creature trapped in scientific limbo, a product of curiosity that challenges the very concept of natural species boundaries. Number 12, Naruga. Now this one is not man-made but nature itself. In the late 1980s, a fisherman off the coast of Greenland saw something he couldn't explain, an animal with the gray body of a beluga but the singular spiral tusk of a narwhal. He kept its skull, unaware that he had just documented the first known Naruga, a crossbreed between two Arctic species that rarely mix. It wasn't until 2019 that DNA tests confirmed the hybrid's origins: narwhal mother, beluga father. This wasn't a fairy tale, it was a one-in-a-million occurrence, born from a rare overlap in habitat and timing. Narwhals and belugas share frigid waters but usually don't mingle at this level. Scientists were stunned by how the hybrid displayed a blend of both parents, its teeth resembled neither, and its shape was unlike anything documented. Though sterile, its existence hinted at deeper mysteries in Arctic waters. Well, Naruga's discovery wasn't engineered in a lab or sketched into folklore. It was Mama Nature breaking its own rules and regulations, quietly, once and likely never again. Number 11. Human-cow egg hybrid experiment. It was totally real. In 2008, British scientists pushed into territory that made even some of their peers uncomfortable. Their goal was noble: develop stem cells to treat diseases like Parkinson's, but their method stirred global debate. Using cow eggs, they removed the nucleus and inserted human DNA from skin cells. The result was a cloned embryo that survived just long enough to become a blastocyst. No one was trying to create a human cow creature. The aim was to harvest stem cells for research. But that didn't stop headlines from throwing around words like chimera or hybrid. Ethically, the ground here was unstable. These embryos weren't allowed to grow beyond 14 days. But even at that early stage, it raised a difficult question: what kind of line are we crossing when human DNA is combined with animal biology, even briefly? The science was incredible but unsettling. It suggested we're not limited by nature anymore. We're only limited by what rules we choose to follow. And those lines keep getting fuzzier. Number 10. Toiger. When Judy Sudgen envisioned the Toiger, she wasn't just breeding cats. She was crafting a message. The Toiger looks like a miniature tiger wrapped in bold stripes and jungle vibes, but it's not wild. It was designed to be gentle, trainable, and affectionate. Judy's goal was simple: to make people fall in love with something that reminded them of real tigers while still fitting in your apartment. Years of selective breeding followed. She brought in a striped street cat from India, paired it with domestic shorthairs, and meticulously refined each generation. The result was a sleek, solid house cat with wild aesthetics, but none of the feral behavior. Toigers officially got breed recognition in 2008, a rare achievement in the cat world. But beneath their good looks lies a subtle protest, one meant to draw attention to tiger conservation by making people emotionally invest in their miniaturized counterparts. Not everyone agrees with the ethics behind designer pets, but Judy never claimed to be saving cats. She wanted to spark something bigger. Number 9. Mullard duck. The Mullard duck isn't born from chance. It's the calculated result of blending a Muscovy duck with a Pekin. Farmers didn't breed them for beauty or novelty. They did it for meat. Mullards are the heavyweights of the duck world, with males reaching up to 12 pounds and females not far behind. Their bodies are dense, their muscles thick, and their meat is prized in French cuisine. These ducks don't fly, they don't perch, and they prefer staying near water. Their claws come from the Muscovy side, but their temperament leans toward the calm, manageable Pekin. What makes the Mullard so unusual isn't just its size, it's that it can't reproduce. Each one has to be created through human intervention. That makes them products, not animals in the traditional sense. They exist to feed, not to breed. In that way, the Mullard duck is a perfect example of how agriculture rewires evolution, not for survival or adaptation, but for taste, efficiency, and profit. Number 8. Dodo bird. The dodo didn't vanish in some prehistoric catastrophe. It disappeared in real time in the shadow of human arrival. Native to Mauritius, it lived without predators until ships brought rats, pigs, and men. Within a century of its first recorded sighting in the late 1500s, the dodo was gone. It couldn't fly, didn't fear humans, and laid its eggs on open ground. Easy pickings for every invasive species humans dragged along. What makes the dodo unforgettable isn't its appearance, it's what it represents. This bird became the face of extinction caused not by natural selection, but by careless human disruption. And now, centuries later, some scientists are determined to reverse the damage. Projects exploring de-extinction using dodo DNA are already in motion. Whether or not these efforts ever hatch a living bird, the debate remains: are we honoring the past or trying to rewrite it for our own ego? The dodo's legacy isn't just in bones, it's a reminder that what's lost doesn't always stay lost, and not everything should be brought back. Number 7. Killer bees. Back in 1956, Brazilian scientists thought they were improving nature. They introduced African bees into European honeybee colonies, hoping for a strain that was both productive and resilient. What they got instead were killer bees, hyper-aggressive, territorial swarms that have since spread across the Americas. The hybrids inherited the worst behavioral traits from both parents. They swarm faster, sting in larger numbers, and don't back down easily. Entire hives have been known to chase perceived threats for over a quarter mile. This wasn't nature's work. It was a calculated human misstep that spun wildly out of control. Killer bees don't make more honey, and they don't pollinate better. Their one lasting trait is hostility. The hybridization was supposed to create a better worker bee. Instead, it created a problem that's been buzzing through ecosystems ever since. What started in a controlled lab now lives unchecked in open fields, stinging first and never asking questions. A cautionary tale with wings and venom. Number 6. Chimpanzee-human hybrid. In the 1920s, Soviet biologist Ilya Ivanov carried out one of the most unsettling scientific pursuits of the century, attempting to create a hybrid between humans and chimpanzees. He wasn't guessing in the dark. He used artificial insemination, convinced the genetic closeness between species could produce something viable. Fortunately or not, his experiments never produced offspring, but that didn't stop rumors or controversy. Then came Oliver in the 1970s, a peculiar chimpanzee who walked upright, preferred human company, and had a strangely flat face. People swore he was proof of a hybrid. He wasn't. Oliver was fully chimp, just genetically odd in a way that challenged what people expected. He ended up performing in shows and circuses, more novelty than evidence. But his existence and the earlier Soviet attempts forced a disturbing question into public view: how far should science be allowed to chase its curiosities? The line between human and animal isn't as wide as we pretend, and some people have tried, quite literally, to erase it. Number 5. Dolly the sheep. Dolly wasn't just a sheep. She was a milestone that reshaped the future of science. Born in 1996 at the Roslin Institute in Scotland, Dolly was the first mammal cloned from an adult somatic cell. Her creation proved what many believed impossible. You could take a fully developed cell and rebuild an entire life from it. But the triumph wasn't without discomfort. Dolly lived a life that was closely monitored, studied, and sometimes misunderstood. She developed arthritis early and was eventually euthanized due to a progressive lung disease at just 6 years old, far younger than expected for her breed. While her health problems raised concerns, her existence confirmed a terrifying and fascinating truth: genetic duplication is possible. She opened doors to medical cloning, stem cell research, and fierce ethical debates that continue to this day. Dolly wasn't engineered for fame, but she became a symbol of what humanity can achieve when it refuses to accept natural limits, and a reminder that every scientific leap casts a shadow. Number 4. Dua the cat dog. In 2020, a strange-looking dog from Vietnam stirred up global confusion. Named Dua, the pup had a wide-eyed stare, perky triangular ears, and a feline-like snout. He didn't walk like a cat, but he certainly looked like one, at least enough to convince millions that he might be part feline. The truth wasn't as outlandish. His owner, Han, clarified that Dua was simply a mix of two rare dog breeds, possibly with a mutation that gave him a corgi-like body and cat-like face. Internet sleuths ran wild with speculation, but none of it changed the fact that Dua wasn't a scientific hybrid, just a one-in-a-million natural oddity. He became a social media icon, not because of what he was, but because of what he resembled. Photos of him lounging, playing and posing like a cat went viral, sparking conversations about hybrid potential, even though there was none. Dua reminded the world that sometimes the strangest creations aren't from science labs, but from the unpredictable hands of nature itself. Mother Nature is truly awesome. Number 3. Ancient hybrid of Mesopotamia. Thousands of years before horses galloped across Mesopotamian battlefields, people there were already experimenting with crossbreeding. Archaeologists uncovered bones that told the story of the Kunga, an ancient hybrid used for warfare, transport, and prestige. These weren't wild guesses. DNA analysis confirmed that the Kunga was a cross between a female domestic donkey and a male wild ass from Syria. Not only was the pairing unnatural, these animals don't breed in the wild, but it also had to be done manually. That means humans were creating hybrids as far back as 2500 BCE, long before the word genetics existed. Kungas were stronger than donkeys and more manageable than wild asses, making them the perfect status symbol for elite Mesopotamians. They were used in ceremonies, gifted at weddings, and paraded in royal events. These animals weren't just functional, they were engineered symbols of power. The idea that genetic manipulation is new vanishes when you realize that ancient breeders were already creating hybrids to suit their needs, and doing it with surprising success. Number 2. Zebroids. When zebras mate with horses, the result is something that barely looks real. Zebroids, also known as zorses or zonkies depending on the pairing, are hybrids wrapped in stripes but shaped like something caught mid-morph. Their bodies might resemble horses or donkeys, but the chaotic stripe patterns betray their zebra ancestry immediately. They're often sterile, like many hybrids, but that hasn't stopped breeders from creating them for novelty, tourism, or experimental studies. What's fascinating is how inconsistent they are. Some inherit the wild temperament of zebras, making them nearly impossible to tame, while others lean toward the trainable nature of horses. This unpredictability makes zebroids more of a spectacle than a solution to any real agricultural or conservation problem. They stand as a visual metaphor, proof that blending species doesn't always create balance. Zebroids are impressive, no doubt, but they're also awkward symbols of forced adaptation. Nature didn't design them. Curiosity did, and while they fascinate, they also remind us how difficult it is to reconcile wildness with control. Number 1. Guppy X Molly Hybrid. Inside countless home aquariums, a quiet experiment unfolds every day. Guppies and mollies, both small, vibrant, and prolific, have been bred together long enough to produce hybrids that blur their lines completely. Sometimes called muppies or gollies, these fish are colorful mosaics, carrying unpredictable blends of body shape, fin structure, and temperament. It's a biological gamble. No two hybrids ever look quite the same. Some lean toward the guppy's slender body and splashy hues, while others inherit the molly's tougher build and calm behavior. Breeding them, however, isn't as casual as tossing both species into a tank and hoping for results. Fertility is inconsistent, and many hybrids are sterile. They swim like contradictions, part ornamental, part accidental. In theory, they offer the best of both worlds, hardiness and beauty. But their existence also raises a quiet question about how far we're willing to stretch natural boundaries for aesthetics. Aquarium hobbyists may adore these hybrids, but nature didn't ask for this combination, and sometimes it shows. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.